The Lakers host Golden State on Saturday night. Dan Woike covers the NBA, covers the Lakers for the LA Times. All right, where do you want to start here, Dan, with what happened last night?
It's been great theater, Dan. I just want to say that first of all.
Thank you.
You say you want to watch the struggle. Like, that's the crazy thing is, like, they have 7 more games on national TV as this season plays out, right? Like, so
Yeah.
we are all going to see this. Like, it is very public. Russ is as good a place to start as any because that decision impacted everything. Not just in terms of what he's able to do on the court, sort of the math problems it caused for them when you trade 3 players for one, when that player makes $43 million and that's money you can't spend elsewhere. I was watching in that third quarter and you watch that, the Clippers going, I think it was like a 23-0 run at one point, and you look around, it's like, why can't this team stop anybody? And you realize, oh, well, Kyle Kuzma and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope are on a different team. Alex Caruso's on a different team. Like, these are the guys that were parts of the pillars of the identity that the Lakers won a title with, which was built on defense. And that has all been traded out. That has all been gone in an effort to be more dynamic on offense. And they stink on offense, and they're slightly below average on defense. And that's why they are in the position they're in.
Tim Legler was on yesterday, and he said that he's watching the body language. And he said during timeouts, they're not talking to each other. Like, there's no spirit there. There's nobody who's sort of, getting in somebody's face here. And they've had those players in previous years. They just don't have that now. But I wonder, what do you do in the offseason?
A lot, right? And I think Legs is right. I think what we're seeing, right, Dan, is you're seeing a team that had championship expectations be confronted with the reality that they might not even be the 10th best team in the West, and it's jarring. And it has been, let's wait, like you said, we'll wait to the end of December. This has been their approach on a lot of things, at least publicly, is like, well, let's wait and see where we're at once we're healthy. Let's wait and see where we're at once we get some continuity. Here we are with 20 games left in the season, and it doesn't seem, it seems it's impossible to imagine that they'll get either of those things. As far as the offseason goes, dealing with the Russell Westbrook issue seems like it'll be at the very top of the list, right? Best for both parties, I think, probably to figure out a solution. Now it's gonna like the Lakers are gonna have to pay for that. It's not a simple like let's find a team that wants Russ. Like, they're gonna have to sweeten that deal. They're gonna have to use draft picks to kind of start to dig out of the hole that they're in. But they've probably got to dig out of the hole. And then I think secondarily, a coaching change seems likely. The Lakers have kind of said that, with a half-hearted extension, with kind of letting Frank Vogel dangle a little bit here during this season. I mean, they've sort of made their feelings known there. And I think, again, another situation probably for best for both parties. Like there's going to be there'll be big changes. This team has to look differently next year, Dan. Here's the crazy thing. I'm not convinced they'll look that much better.
Well, I wonder if LeBron knows the clock is ticking. He wants to win at least one more championship, and he's got to look around and go, can I win a champ? Do you think LeBron can win a championship in the next couple of years there in Los Angeles?
I mean, not without a certain level of luck that hasn't been there, right? Like, I mean, he's going to have to continue to defy age on the court, but he's going to have to stay on the floor, right? LeBron has missed a lot of time this year. His running mate is Anthony Davis. And so you need Anthony Davis on the court. Like, these are big ifs when you talk about the Lakers. If Anthony Davis was healthy, if LeBron James keeps playing at this level, I mean, next season LeBron will be 38. The year after that, he'll be 39. And eventually you would think like that. I mean, maybe we're already starting to see some of those things slow down, the swollen knee, the ankle injuries seem kind of freakish, but, he's had other things, a groin injury that he's dealt with, like these soft tissue injuries that tend to kind of suggest older age. I think that is obviously, those are huge ifs. Can it happen? I mean, they have a puncher's chance. I mean, they are, I was talking to a scout last night, and it's like they are as born on third base of a team as anybody, right? Because they have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And it's sort of why, despite all of this stuff, you talk to teams around the league, nobody still wants to play them. They don't want to see them in the play, and they don't want to see them in the first round of the playoffs because they have these two guys, and these two guys are unquestionably great players. Is this a great team? No, not close.
Handicap the rest of the West here. Best team is who?
I think at full health, I think it's the Phoenix Suns, but the Chris Paul thumb injury is an interesting one. It is that team to me, when I see them, they make the most sense. Like you just see them, they've got athletic wings. Now they have experience. They have perimeter scoring. They have an interior presence. They've got tremendous depth. They've been there before. It's a team I really like. I still sort of think the Utah Jazz are lurking, and they've disappointed in the playoffs so many times.
Yeah.
But it's a terrific offense, and a team that's played much better basketball. Seemingly the only team the Lakers can beat, weirdly enough, is the Utah Jazz. But Utah against everybody, that doesn't seem like a problem they'll have to conquer in the playoffs. And then obviously the Warriors are the Warriors. I mean, I think Steph Curry's in a little bit of a funk right now. Klay Thompson's still playing his way back, and reintegrating pieces like that is not easy, Dan. It especially when it's been so long, it's hard to readjust your identity like that. But again, that's just another team that I think is in the mix. It just, to me, Phoenix just feels like they have the least amount of questions. A thumb injury isn't the end of the world. Chris Paul will be back on the court at some point. He'll be able to stay in shape. It's not like you can't jog if you have a broken thumb. It's not like you can't work out a little bit and stuff like that. So I don't think it'll be hard for him to get back running at full speed.
Make a case for Ja Morant to win MVP.
The Memphis Grizzlies aren't on anybody's radar if he's not like jumping above the backboard every game. Like in terms of value.
They're a game out of the 2 seed right now, Dan.
Yeah. Dan, he is the value case, right? And I didn't mention Memphis, and I probably should, because it's easy to kind of see the path for them, right? Like it is kind of a weird year again in the West. Who knows what doors will be open. They're tremendously athletic. Another team with tremendous depth. They had never been there before, which is always, it's tough to go through it the first time. And we'll see what, how a team defends Ja Morant over a seven game series is totally different from how you deal with him on a night to night basis and how good are they at adjusting. But there's probably not a more exciting player in the league right now. It does feel like he can do anything. I was in the building when, he blocked that shot against the Lakers, and it looked like, he had a couple Tesla rockets in the sneakers. Like he is like sort of one of those guys when you open your phone or you turn on League Pass or whatever, it's anything is certainly possible. And on a team like that at this stage, I mean, who could be more valuable in that sense?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like most outstanding as far as best highlights.
Sure.
Or because Giannis has won a couple. It feels like it's Embiid's turn, even though the Joker's played well with a Denver team that's, been missing some players there. I'm always curious about this meteoric rise. Like Luka had a meteoric rise, but he didn't win the MVP because the team wasn't good enough. Ja Morant is having that meteoric rise, and they're playing like there's validation in his value to them. Whereas Luke, I said he's not going to be an MVP anytime soon until they get better.
Yeah, I'm glad at the LA Times, like, we don't vote on awards, which is like, luckily it's something I'm glad I don't do it. To be totally honest, like it is a tricky thing to kind of figure this out, because another name we haven't mentioned is DeMar DeRozan, who has been, again, you talk about a team on a quick meteoric rise, and he's the type of person that I think voters want to reward because it's such a good story. It's such a good, like, kind of out of nowhere seemingly season.
But it's hard to vote an MVP with a high. You can't say, "Oh, remember that time in that game against," like, the Joker had sort of a season like that last year, but he had some unbelievable passes. DeMar DeRozan, like, here's another
couple game winners.
All right, okay.
But look, Dan, they've got to beat, and this is an issue.
And they haven't beaten good teams.
That's what I was just going to say. They've got to beat really good teams, right? And they just haven't done it. So, I mean, I think, to me, like, right now, if I was filling a ballot, I would look at Embiid, I would look at Jokic, and I would look at Morant probably closest, and then Giannis is like right on the edge of that. And then you just start to, at a certain point, it becomes a level of taste. Like those guys have all been so good. Embiid has been great on both sides of the ball. What Jokic is doing is still like kind of rewriting possibilities on offense. Giannis, is maybe the most dominant player in the NBA. And then you've got this guy, Ja Morant, who, like I said, I mean, like seems like sort of a mix of like Allen Iverson and Derrick Rose a little bit. Like pre-injury is kind of who I always see. And it's just sort of, it really does feel like he's on the precipice of something really, really special. And that's the crazy thing with him, Dan, is like, are we even seeing the best of him right now? Like how much more is there to go?
Bill Oram of The Athletic got yelled at by LeBron. Have you been yelled at by LeBron?
Snarled at, certainly. Not to that extent. I will say this. I have yelled at Bill Oram before. That has definitely happened.
Everybody yells at Bill Oram.
Yeah.
Wait,
more than once.
LeBron snarled at you?
Absolutely, yeah.
What was snarl worthy?
I think, I think there was a point at a time during the season where he basically looked over and was like, you keep asking the same questions, right? Like you keep asking us and we don't know. And if we did know, we would maybe answer
But
them.
you should have said, hey, you guys keep playing the same way. That's why
I told him. That's what I told him. I said, this is frustrating. Like we're trying, Jennifer. I pulled the CJ McCollum card. I think that, certainly the Bill LeBron situation, obviously like a little jest in there too and stuff. It's just everybody's frustrated, Dan. Like honestly, like it is a very tiring team to be around. And what I mean by that is that it's just like I said, like this is a team that I think, you heard them talk about championships, with a straight face through December. We heard Russell Westbrook talk about a championship last night. Saying like the season's not over, our goals are still in front of us. And it's, you're 8 games under 500. And, why are you even talking about anything beyond, winning a single game, playing better than one quarter? Like this team hasn't figured that out yet. And it is a little bit exhausting constantly trying to dissect these huge, big picture issues, right? Like these aren't little tiny problems. These are big problems that they're trying to tackle. But like at the same time, like they're not even getting like the day-to-day results.
That painting, a tribute to Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yes, it's I'm a Chicagoan. My son is named Cameron. It is high art in my room, Dan.
So you didn't want to go with Ferris as a name for your son?
No, I didn't want like people thinking, like say Ferris and stuff like that. Cameron, underrated character. I don't know why he's a Red Wings fan. It never made total sense to me. Maybe if they're in a prequel or a sequel, that would ever get addressed. But
but everything about Cameron, he was an outsider.
Yeah, and he worked his way into like the popular social circle, a real hero, in my opinion. And unlike me, a father with a great car.
Dan, great to talk to you. Good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you. Enjoy the struggle.
Yes, Dan Woike. He covers the Lakers and NBA for the LA Times.